Hello everyone, this is Keith and welcome to the Solo Gamers Club. Tonight we are going to continue our adventures with the Hale Gang as we play Shadows of Brimstone using my Alone in the Shadows of Brimstone campaign rules. Now before we begin, I have a little housekeeping to attend to. And first of all, I want to thank two of my viewers, Phil Devi 6302 and Keith Shearer 3043, for reminding me of a very important rule in the official Frequently Asked Questions version 2.01 dated October 24th, 2025. With this rule, grit may be used to reroll a chart result that results in the death of a character, and this will directly apply to the ripped apart result that Hana Okabe received following the first mission. As she already recovered, she had also received 1 grit, thus allowing her to re-roll the injury chart result. And that's what we're going to be doing here. And as long as I don't roll a 2, we will have Hana back into the party. So I'm going to make this very important roll live and we'll see what we come up with. Here's the result. Rolled an 8, and an 8 is a crushed arm. Your arm has been bent and crushed a bit. It may even be broken. You are -1 combat. Okay, well that's a lot better than ripped apart. So Hana has spent a grit, and now she's going to have the crushed arm injury that she'll have to deal with, but that's a lot better than what we had. Now in the original video, Hana was killed, so the other 2 characters proceeded on with their adventures. And currently the date is February 7th, 1885, and the Posse is just entering the town of Lestina. So now with this change to the result, I have developed a short backstory to explain Hana's absence in the campaign since the end of the last mission. So I'd like you to watch this, and this will explain much of what happened in that interim.
My friends, you have shown me trust, courage, and companionship on roads where lesser souls would have faltered. You have fought beside me without hesitation, and for that, I owe you more than simple gratitude. I owe you truth. In our last battle, when steel clashed, my blade and spirit wavered. I allowed doubt to take root in my heart, and because of that weakness, I failed you and I failed myself. A samurai's honor is not a banner to be carried only in triumph, it is a burden to be upheld even in despair. And I did not uphold it. I cannot remain among you while this stain lingers upon my soul. Do not mistake my words, I do not abandon you. I do not turn my back on our cause or the bonds we have forged. But the path of honor is sometimes a solitary one. I must walk it now, alone, until I can once again stand at your side without shame. I will seek clarity in the quiet places, discipline in the harsh ones, and purpose in the places where the world tests the spirit. When I return, and I will return, I will do so as the warrior you believe me to be. Not broken, not doubting, but sharpened anew. Until that day, walk your path with courage. Protect one another. And know that every step I take away from you is taken so that I may one day stand with you again, worthy of your trust. May the wind guide your travels, and may it carry me back to you when my honor is restored.
And so, as the posse enters the outskirts of Lestina, Hana is waiting for them. She is still reeling from her wounds, but she's ready to rejoin the posse. For the sake of new viewers, I'm going to go through the town creation process so that you can get an idea of how these campaign rules will work. The first step of this is we examine the location that we're going to be randomly creating. In this case, it's Lestina. It has a black border around the location. That means it is a general town. Now, as it is a general town, there's a possibility that this could be a specialty town. On the campaign map, we have already delineated the rail locations and port locations, along with a few forts. But all the other locations on the board that are town locations have a black border on them, and that means that they could be a specialty town. All right, and the rules state, if this is the first time that the posse has visited the town during the campaign, the town is created using the tables below. Determine the town size on the table below. Note that the size of the town is no longer selected by the posse, but it is determined by a random roll. So the first thing we do is we lay out our town display. This is our dashboard for the frontier town. This is not a device that I created. This is something I downloaded from BGG, and I don't think anybody can improve on this. This is absolutely perfect for what we need to do in our town stays. So we're going to mark the number of days since the last event at 1, and then we're going to get our daily events deck out. Get our daily events deck out, and we're going to give that a cut and place it in its assigned space on the board. Our next step is to examine the atlas that I've prepared, and we can read a little bit about the background of the town of Lestina. It says, Lestina is a raucous town that is known for its wild dance halls and its seemingly unlimited supply of whiskey and beautiful saloon girls. It is home to what is arguably the most famous saloon and gambling hall in the Southwest, the Lucky Find Saloon. It is owned and operated by the shrewd and calculating gambler and businessman Oliver Sampson. He provides almost anything his patrons desire, provided that the price is right. On the surface, Sampson is driven by a desire for wealth and prestige, and he will go to any length to achieve it. And then we have the statistics for our town NPC, Oliver Sampson, a gambler. Then we get out our town recording sheet. It lists the name of the town, its size and specialty, if any, and then gives us the ability to, once we find out what buildings are in the town, we can lay them out on here for future use. Once the town is rolled up, it will be used over and over again. Now, things can happen to the town, buildings can be destroyed, and then we would mark them on this town display area. If there's any new town NPCs, they will be listed, and then we can make notes on there if there's anything strange that happens. Our next step is to determine the town size, and we're going to roll a d20, and that is going to tell us the size of the town. Here is the roll. Okay, the roll is an 11, and that is a medium-sized town, so we're going to mark medium down on the town sheet. So as this is a medium-sized town, we're going to be placing 6 locations in the locations area. So we get our town locations stack out, we give that a cut, and then we're ready to place those. But before we do that, we want to find out if this town has a specialty. Since this was a black bordered town, it's a general town, we're going to be rolling 2d6 for this. Now this table will have all of the specialty locations that are available, with the exception of ports and rail towns. Those won't be included in this list because those are already displayed on the map. So we'll make a roll and see if there is a specialty here. The result is a 7, and that is a standard frontier town. So we will mark that on our town sheet as standard. All right, before we lay out our town locations, we have one more roll to make, and that's an optional system that I developed recently. It's called the Town Traits Chart. We're going to make a D100 roll, and that's going to add some type of flavor, individual flavor to this location. So we're going to make a D100 roll, and the chart goes up to 24. 25 to 100 is no special trait. And this just gives a little bit of extra character to that location. I kind of like this. So we'll make the roll and see if we've got anything that is interesting. Okay, we've got an 81, so there's going to be no special town trait. So we're going to continue now with laying out our town location tiles. Okay, we'll get our stack of town location tiles, we'll give those a cut, and then we'll start laying them out in the order of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, now one of the town locations is a given in this location, and that is the saloon. That's going to be in number 1 no matter what. And that is that special Lucky Find Saloon. So we're going to make sure we get that out of here first, and then we'll reshuffle our stack. So we place the saloon in position 1, get our remaining tiles out here, give those a cut, and then we'll begin laying out the other 5. Next one is a gambling hall. All right. We've got Doc's office. That might be helpful for us. A Indian trading post. Smuggler's den. And finally, a general store. That's a pretty good mix for us. So what I'm going to do now is write these locations down on the town sheet so we have a permanent record of these. And that's pretty much the procedure for laying out a random town. And I kind of like this. That was actually what drove me to start creating this campaign system. So I didn't like the fact of how the size of the town was kind of like provided for you. I wanted to have something where I was surprised at what the configuration of the towns are, with maybe the exception of it being a known rail location or a port on one of the rivers. That's kind of what started me off on that path for Alone in the Shadows of Brimstone. And so we're ready to begin our town stay in Lestina. We'll start by making a draw of a daily event. And let's see what we come up with. This one is a no good, very bad day. With all that has been happening lately, how could things get any worse? You had to ask. Immediately roll once on the town event chart. Do not reset the darkness marker on the town event track for this. Okay. All right, so we're going to have to make a 2d6 roll consulting the town event chart. Okay, not what we wanted at this point, but here it is. We rolled a 9, and that is intense dread. A dark cloud on the horizon makes your soul sink as you see a void twister in the distance wipe through a neighboring town. Each hero must make a cunning 6+ test. If successful, gain 10 XP. If failed, take d6 plus 3 sanity damage, ignoring willpower. If no hero passes this test, also add a growing dread card at the start of the next adventure. Oh no. Well, here we go. Okay, so we have to do a cunning 6+ test is what we need to do. All right. We'll begin with Sister Hale. She has a cunning level of 3. All right, so we're going to roll 3 dice, and we're looking for a 6 for her. Here's the roll. And she has failed. All right. So she's going to take d6 plus 3 sanity damage, and we'll see what happens. Here is the roll. She rolls a 2, plus 3 is 5. Okay, so that's going to move her sanity damage up to 7 of 11. Okay, next up is Hana Okabe. She currently has a cunning level of 3. So she'll be rolling 3 dice for the test, and we're looking for 6. She has no 6. So we'll have to make a d6 plus 3 roll and see how much sanity damage she's going to take. She has a 1. Plus 3 is 4. So that will move her sanity damage up to 12. Okay, so she's at 12 of 14. Not a great start for us. And finally, Silas Barrow. He currently has a cunning of 4. All right. So we'll have him roll 4 dice, and he's looking for 6. And he has the 6. So he's passed it, and we don't have to take the Growing Dread card at the start of the next adventure, which is great. All right, next we are going to select our lodging, and I think everyone is going to get their own room in the hotel. That will be $10 a piece. All right, so we have our accommodations at the hotel, and we're ready now for our town location visits. We can either visit one of the locations in the town, we could rest in our hotel room and recover D3 wounds or sanity damage, or we could initiate a player non-NPC interaction. We pay a grit, we roll a die, and on a 4 to 6, we have an interaction with a personal or town NPC. And on a roll of 4 to 6, that is a success. So those are our choices. Well, the whole posse is pretty much in not great shape, in particular Hana Okabe. So I think I'm going to have Hana remain in the hotel, and we'll have our other 2 characters go out and try to accomplish a few things in town. Currently, our posse supply level is at minimal, so we're using a D6 now for our supply rolls, I believe. So that might be something we want to address. Well, I'm a little concerned with Sister Hale's "It's Coming for You" condition. So I think I'd like to try to get rid of that. That would be quite damaging. Whenever the Hold Back the Darkness rolls failed, you take D3 sanity damage, ignoring willpower. So I think I have to try to address that. And I think I'll send her to the Indian trading post. It would give her a chance to meet up with the tribal medicine man for spirit cleansing. And as for Silas Barrow, I think we're going to send him to the general store. I wouldn't mind getting some specialized ammunition for him as being the gunslinger. Okay, we'll begin with Hana Okabe. She's resting at the hotel, so we'll give her a D3 worth of healing. Results at 2, and I'm going to have her take off 2 sanity damage. That puts her at 10 of 14. Next is Sister Hale. She is at the Indian trading post. All right, she's going to need to make a 2d6 roll and check the location event chart for the trading post. Here's the roll. She rolls an 11, and that's Animal Messenger. Entering the trading post, an owl flies down and lands on a signpost across the way. It looks at you with knowing eyes, and you feel confident in facing the terrors to come. During the next adventure, you gain Spirit Armor 5+, and the first time you are KO'd, you do not need to roll for injury or madness. That is awesome, and I'm going to make a notation of that to place on Sister Hale's sheet. One thing I failed to account for is Sister Hale does not have any Darkstone to get the healing. That is a problem. So I think the fair way to do this is Sister Hale would make a plea to both of her friends, and she would offer to purchase their Darkstone for the going rate. So I think we'll do it that way. The going rate would be at the gambling hall, which would be really the only place that you can sell the Darkstone. It's at $50 a shard. So she's going to purchase those, I think, from the other 2 characters to kind of help her with this healing attempt. So she's given each of the other characters $100 for their 2 Darkstone. And I think what she's going to do first is she's going to try the free vision quest. Limit once per visit. Sitting in a smoke-filled tent, the medicine man leads you through a vision quest with your spirit guide. If you do not know your spirit guide yet, roll on the chart below. Each hero will only ever have 1 spirit guide, and it will always be the same once you've determined it. Grit cannot be used for reroll. Your spirit guide, to reroll your spirit guide, they choose you. You must pass a Spirit 5+ test to gain 25 XP and the Vision Quest bonus listed for your spirit guide to use once during the next adventure. So she'll give that a shot. We're going to make a d6 roll first and find out what her spirit guide is. Here's the roll. Roll's a 1, and that's a beaver. Do not discard a side bag token just used. Okay, so I'm going to make a notation for that. And I think I'm going to manufacture some cards for the spirit guide, similar to like what I'm doing here for conditions. Might be nice to have cards for the spirit guides as well. So I'm going to do that at the conclusion of this episode. All right, now she has to make a Spirit 5 Plus test. And if she's successful, she'll earn 25 XP and also be able to use that spirit guide during the next adventure. Her spirit level is a 4. And we'll make a 4d6 roll and see if she can pass the test. She needs a 5 plus. And she's got it easily. So she's going to gain the benefits of her spirit guide. She also earns 25 XP. That's great. Incidentally, I just came up with the idea when I make those spirit guide cards, I'm going to have one side which will show what the spirit guide is, and on the other side, it'll say something like Spirit Guide Active, and then I'll know that I have that available during the next adventure. I think that might be pretty good. All right, next she is going to visit the tribal medicine man and attempt a spirit cleansing. We have to make a d6 roll, and that'll be the amount of darkstone that we have to spend for the cleansing. So we'll make the roll. She's got 4 of them, so if it's 4 or less, she can attempt it. The result is a 3, so I think we'll try it. All right, so we've paid the 3 darkstone, and we're kind of taking a big chance here, because if I do happen to roll a 1, it's possessed. Possessed by a corrupting spirit, you are not healed, but instead immediately gain D3 new mutations. So, but I really need to get rid of that. That would be very damaging for us if we have this coming for you trait. And I'll see if we can get rid of that. I hope we can get a good roll here. Okay, here is the roll. Result is a 6. That is awesome. And that says Spirit Guide. The Madness Cure mutation is fully healed, and you gain +1 sanity as you bond with the Spirit Guide. That is absolutely awesome. I can't believe it. So we can get rid of this, and we gain +1 sanity. That's going to permanently move her up from 11 up to 12. That is great. Very happy with that. I'm going to make a notation of that so I can record that for the future use. So that was absolutely awesome for 3 Darkstone. That is definitely worth it. We have one other thing that we can accomplish now with Sister Hale. Now she has these pieces of equipment, and I'm thinking on selling the outlaw armor. -1 initiative, -1 agility. It is +3 armor, but I don't know. I think the cash might be better suited for her. It requires a strength of 3 or higher to use. Her strength right now is a 3, so she could don it, or I could gift it to one of the other characters as well. The gunslinger, Silas Barrow, he could definitely would like to use that. His strength is only a 2, and I can't see giving that to Hana Okabe, where she relies on her agility for a lot of her special abilities. So I think we're going to sell the outlaw armor, and my new rule now is we can only sell these things for half the value, and I think that is a logical thing. You just can't expect the same amount as you'd pay for something. It just doesn't work that way. So we're going to give her $600 in cash for that. Now we have the other items. The Badlands adventure gear is very handy. You're going to start every adventure with a bandage, whiskey, and tonic. So we're going to keep that. It has two 2 weight to it, but I think I'm going to keep that. That's pretty valuable. The last thing to consider is the coach gun. Now, I could give that to the gunslinger. Now, his special ability is with single-handed weapons. And this is a single-handed weapon, and that probably could be quite powerful, but the range is so limited. So I think we'll hang on to the coach gun for now. She can't use guns. That's one of the things that Sister Hale cannot do. But we'll keep that for the time being, and I might end up giving that to the gunslinger possibly. So we've sold this outlaw armor, and I'm sure there's a lot of people that are disappointed with that. +3 armor is really good, but it just doesn't work with the party as it is, so I think I'm going to do it that way. The cash could be, I think, more useful for her at this point. Okay, so that finishes her visit to the trading post. Let me just check here to see if there's anything else we might want to do. Well, she could buy some throwing hatchets. Right now she's got a bandage, whiskey, and tonic in her side bag. So I guess we could buy 2 throwing hatchets. Those are a fast release weapon, and that might be something we could do. So I think I will. I'll purchase 2 throwing hatchets. And so we're going to get her 2 throwing hatchets that I'm going to place in her side bag, and that's going to complete her visit to the trading post. That was pretty good. I'm very happy with how that transpired. So she'll go back to the hotel, and I'll give her the 2 hatchets. All right, next up is Silas Barrow. He is at the general store, and we'll have him make a roll on the location event table. All right, so here is our roll for the general store. He rolls a 12. That says artifact for sale. The shop owner has a rare find indeed. An artifact brought back from a recent excursion. Draw a world card to determine where the expedition has been. Then draw an artifact from that world. This artifact can be purchased for its listed price. If there is no price listed, the card can be purchased for $100 as a special sale. All right. So we'll get out our world deck and shuffle that up and see what world this is from. Okay, it's from the Blasted Wastes. So we're going to draw an artifact from the Blasted Wastes. And so we've got our Blasted Wastes artifact deck out. I'll give that a shuffle, and then we'll see what is available for him to purchase. And this one is Wasteland Goggles. +1 to Cunning. Once per adventure or travel, town stay, you may re-roll a skill test. $450. Okay. Well, he's got $445, so we don't have enough to purchase that. That would be kind of expensive, so we'll pass on that. And then he's going to undertake his general store encounter. I think the first thing he's going to do is purchase some rations for us. Currently we are at minimal supply, so I think they're going to move us up to full supply, and that's $5 times the number in the party for each level. So that would be $15, $30 to move us up 2 levels. And that's going to move us up to full supply. We'll be using a D10 for our supply checks. All right, now Silas has quite a few choices here on what to purchase. Right now he's carrying 3 fine cigars, and there's a couple things here that would be pretty good for him. One of them is a rider's hat. Gives him +1 to health, and he'll gain the keyword traveler. Takes up 1 weight. It's $350, but that would really help him. That would move his health from 10 to 11, and that could be quite beneficial, but that's $350. Right now he has a total of $415, so that would use up quite a bit of his resources for right now. I wanted to get some specialty ammo, and that would give us +1 damage against either Demon Shot, Void Shot, Silver Shot, or Holy Shot. But I don't know which is the best. What would be really great for him is a quick draw pistol. That would give him +1 to initiative for the first turn of the fight. Doesn't increase his shots any. The gunfighter's pistol would be even better, but I'm nowhere near that ability to purchase that. So this is a tough decision. Well, I think he's going to go with a whiskey and a bandage for his side bag. So that'll cost him $100. And I'm wondering about a special ammo. Yeah, I don't know about that. It's kind of strange. His Deadeye shot that he comes with is +2 damage, and a demon shot is +1 damage against demons. So you can use the Deadeye shot against anything, so I don't know why you'd want to purchase those. Lasts for 1 adventure. Oh, lasts for 1 adventure. When used, replaces any current ammo. Yeah, I'm going to check into that more closely before we finish these purchases at the general store. I'm going to take a look at the gunslinger's chart and see what they say about that. Yeah, I checked the description in the adventure book for the gunslinger, and it talks mostly about the specialty ammunition that he gets when he goes up in levels. It doesn't really talk about this specialty ammo from the general store. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'm not reading that correctly. I don't see the advantage of it. His Deadeye shot is +2. So, lasts for 1 adventure. When used, replaces any current ammo. Your gun hits do extra damage against the listed enemy. Yeah, I must not be understanding that correctly, so I guess we'll pass on that. Well, I think he's going to purchase some clothing and equipment. We're going to get him some hair grease, gear, grooming. You may start in town with 1 extra grit. After each use, discard on a d6 roll of 1 or 2. No grit roll allowed. So we'll buy that for $50, and I'll make a notation that he has the hair grease. All right. And I think that's going to end his stay at the general store. So we'll move him back to the hotel, and we'll move on to the next step, and that's our rumor draw. So we'll get out a rumor draw cup, give that a shuffle up, and I'll pick one out. And we've got no useful leads. So that's going to go back into the draw cup, and no help there. All right, finally we have our end of the day, and we're going to check for a town event. Our marker is currently on 1, so only on a roll of 1 will we have one. Here's the roll. It's a 3, so we'll move that up to 2. And next is our decision to either stay in town or ride out. We're going to stay another day. And I just made a discovery. I already created these cards already for the Spirit Guides. Spirit Guide Beaver. Do not discard a side bag token, just used. So I've already created these. I didn't remember it. So I'll give that to Sister Hale. All right, it's February 8th, 1885, and we're going to make an extra stay here in the frontier town. So we will draw another card. This time we've got, mob riot. The townsfolk are fed up with the local authority and have begun to riot in the streets. Each hero can attempt to quell the riot by making a Strength 4+ test. If failed, the hero is knocked over the head by the crowd, taking d6 wounds, ignoring defense, and may do nothing else for this day in town. If passed, the hero gains 20 XP and may choose 1 building in town to protect. Then roll a d6 for each building in town that was not protected. On a roll of 1 or 2, the building's destroyed in the riot. Oh boy. Well, none of our heroes are exceptionally strong. The best is the samurai, Hana Okabe. She has a strength of 3, along with Sister Hale, a strength of 3. Our gunslinger's only 2. Well, I think we're just going to sit this one out, and we'll let the mob do what the mob does. So we're going to make a d6 roll for each building. It was not protected. On a 1 or 2, the building is destroyed. We'll do these in order. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The saloon. A 5, so the saloon is good. The gambling hall is good. It's a 6. The doctor's office. A 5, that's good. The Indian trading post. A 2. So the trading post is destroyed, and we'll have to make a notation of that on the sheet. That's a permanent destruction. The smuggler's den is a 2. That has also been destroyed. Finally, the general store is a 2. And the mob has done what they do best. Okay, the next step is to select our lodging. And I think since Hana is kind of in dire straits, she's going to select the suite. That's going to cost her $50, but she'll be able to heal a wound and a sanity damage for free with that. So the other ones will take standard rooms, but she's going to take the suite. That's $50. So that's going to improve Hana's situation. She's at 4 of 11 wounds, and she's at 9 of 14 sanity damage. All right. Now, Hana is carrying this crushed arm right now, and it's -1 combat, so I have to try to get that fixed. So I think she's going to go to the doctor's office, and we'll see if we can get her to repair that crushed arm with some surgery. For the other 2, I think we'll have Sister Hale will go to the gambling hall, and she's going to preach the evils of gambling. And we'll have Silas Barrow go to the saloon. Those will be our choices for today. And I think before Sister Hale travels to the gambling hall, she's going to take a slug of her whiskey. We can use that anytime we choose to. That's going to heal D6 sanity damage. And that'll free up one of her slots in her side bag. So let's do that. D6 sanity damage. She heals 3. Okay, so that will move her from a total of 7 down to 4 sanity damage out of 12. So we'll start out with Sister Hale. She is at the gambling hall, and we'll have her make a roll on the location event chart. Okay, here is her roll. She rolls an 8, and that's laughter, cheers, and sadness. Smoke fills the air, and the cheering thrill of winners roars through the hall, while the empty despair of the drunk and down on their luck lingers in the shadows. No event. Okay. And I think since she's at the gambling hall, she's going to purchase some more whiskey for $50. So we'll have her pay $50 and then add that to her side bag. And then since she's there, she's going to go to the gambling hall cashier, and she's going to cash in the other Darkstone that she has. And she'll gain $50 for that. And I think that is going to be all that she's going to accomplish at the gambling hall. We'll move her back to the hotel. Next is Silas Barrow at the saloon. And we'll have him make his location event roll. He rolls an 8, and that's a tall tale. Listening to a tale of deadly adventure from one of the other patrons, you are inspired to tell a story of your own. Make a lore 5+ test and gain 10 XP for every 5+ rolled. Okay, well, he has a lore value of only 2. So we'll see if he's able to profit from this. And he has 1 success. Okay, so that's going to give him 10 XP. Okay, I think Silas is going to have a little entertainment, and he's going to start out with some casual poker. We're limited once per visit. We're going to make a cunning 5+ test. If successful, gain $50 for every 5+ rolled. If you failed, you lose after several hands and leave with nothing to show for it. Okay, Silas has a cunning of 4, so we'll try it. He's got to pay $50 to get into the game, so we'll have him do that. There's his ante. And now we'll roll the 4 dice. So we're looking for 5s or better. And he has no successes, so he lost 50 bucks. Okay. Well, he's going to try his luck with Brimstone Craps. Limit once per visit. It's $100. So he'll pay $100 to get onto the table. He's going to make a luck 5 plus test, and he's going to gain 100 for every 5 plus rolled. If failed, you lose after a few rolls and leave with nothing to show for it. Okay, his luck is a 4, and he'll get 4 dice for that. So let's give it a shot. He needs 5s or better. And he's got 2 successes, so that's going to give him $200, and that's great. So he actually made 100. All right. And I think that's all he's going to do at the saloon, and we'll move him back to the hotel, and now we've got Hana Okabe at the docks office. And finally, we've got Hana Okabe at the docks office, and she's primarily going there to have him look at her crushed arm. So we're going to begin with a location roll for her, and hopefully the old dock isn't all boozed up. Okay, here is the roll. We rolled a 6, and that's the smell of death. All too familiar at the docks office, no event. All right, well, I guess we're going to go for the surgery. Limit 1 surgery attempt per injury or mutation. If you can afford to pay the cost, choose 1 injury or mutation to remove and roll on the chart below. So she's going to attempt to get rid of her crushed arm. We'll find out what the cost is, and that's a D6 times $50. It's a 5, so that's going to cost her $250, and she'll pay it. So that'll give her $250 back out of her $500 gold piece. And we'll try it. Okay, we'll be consulting the surgery chart. Okay, here's the roll. She rolls a 5. Success. The injury and mutation is healed. Thank goodness. So we can get rid of that. That is great. All right, now that she's there, she can also purchase some items, some healing supplies. And she's got a fair amount of money. She's got over 300. So I think what we'll do is get her some bandages for sure. Those are $50 a piece. So I would really like to get some whiskey for her to repair some of that sanity damage, but it's not available here. So I guess we'll get a healing herbs, which is 125, and a bandage, so that'll be 175. She'll pay 200 and get back 25, and we'll give her a healing herbs and a bandage. The healing herbs gives her 2d6 healing rather than just the 1d6 for the bandage. And I think since she's here, she's also going to purchase a tonic for 150. All right, I would have liked to have gotten her some sake, but that's only available at the blacksmith or at the street market, and those weren't available here. So I think that's all we're going to do for her. And she's going to return to the hotel, and we'll move on to our next step, which is drawing a rumor token. So we'll give our rumor tokens a shuffle and draw one. This time we've got a special event. All right, let's see what that's all about. Special event. Okay, the special event says, a special event indicates that a member of the posse has been confronted with an unusual event while in town. Randomly determine which member of the posse is involved in the event, and then have them roll on the special event table to determine what has occurred and resolve it. Return the token to the pool. All right, so we're going to put that back in the pool. It's only a 5% chance of that. And now we got to determine our random hero. So we've got our random hero tokens, and we'll give those a mix and see which one is affected. We'll try that one. And it's going to be Sister Hale. Okay, so she's going to be making a roll on the special event table. That is a D12 roll. Okay, here we go. She rolls an 8, and that's remove a random NPC from the hero's personal NPC list. Okay. So we'll make a random roll to determine which one is going to be removed. And we need to get a D4, and we'll just do it 1, 2, 3, 4, and those are the random personal NPCs that she's aware of. All right, so we'll make a random roll with the D4. And the result is a 4. So the last one on the list, Holly Watts, the restaurant owner, is going to be scratched off the list. So we'll put a line through Holly Watts. She evidently moved out of town or out of the area. Okay. And finally, we're going to make our end of day roll. And currently we are at a 2. So a 2 or less, and we'll have a town daily event. Roll's a 5. So no town daily event. We'll move that up to 3 now. Now we got to decide if we're going to stay or leave. And I think we're going to head out of town. And so we're back at the campaign map, and we're going to be leaving Lestina. And we have to decide what we want to do. The posse is still carrying quite a bit of damage from that first encounters that they had at first mission. So I'm wondering if we should maybe try to get to another town. Maybe we can get some more time to heal some of these wounds. And I'm thinking we're going to head south, and I think we're going to head for Larberg's Landing. That'll still give us a good chance at reaching, say, this exploration mission. I don't think we're strong enough to try this right now. We've got quite a bit of damage here, so I think we will do that. We're going to head out of town, and we're going to head back to Stone's Crossing. So we're going to resolve overland travel. So we'll assign our posse members to their duties, and I think we'll have Sister Hale be the guide, and the other 2 will follow behind. We're going to be traveling on a silver or gray colored path, which is the easiest. And our guide is going to select a normal travel pace. All right. All right, now she's going to make the supply check. We have a D10 because we are at full supply. So anything but a 1 or 2 and we'll retain that supply level. It's a 4, so no problems there. Now we're going to have to roll a D8 and check the travel hazard chart. We're going to be gaining a +1 for our mounted posse. And here's the hazard roll. Rolled a 4, it's modified to a 5. So a 5 on a gray is 0 hazards, but we have the little dagger symbol, and that says to check for tainted rations. All right, well, we're taking a normal pace, and we are going to have tainted rations will occur on a D20 of 1 to 4. So what happens with this is we lose 1 supply level for this, if it is true. Here's the roll. Results of 14, so no problems there. So we have managed to reach Stone's Crossing. We're going to bypass that and continue traveling on to Larberg's Landing. All right, so we have successfully reached Stone's Crossing, but we don't want to go there, so we're going to bypass Stone's Crossing. We'll continue on with our journey going to Larberg's Landing, and that's going to be a brown trail, light brown trail. But before we do that, we have step 7 yet, and that's heal, using abilities or tokens. And we also get a D6 on a odd or even. Odd, we don't get any healing. Even, we do. And we can use that healing to either repair wound damage or sanity damage. So we'll start out with each of them making an odd-even roll to determine if they have any healing while they're traveling. We'll start with Sister Hale. Result is odd, nothing there. We'll go to Hana Okabe. She has an even roll, so she can heal 1 point. We'll have her heal a sanity damage. That's great. And finally, Silas Barrow. He has an odd roll, so nothing there. We can use side-baked tokens, and I think Silas is going to use some whiskey, so he's going to get a D6 healing of sanity with that. Results at 2, so he'll heal 2 sanity damage. that cost him the whiskey. And I think Sister Hale will do the same. She's going to use a whiskey and attempt to heal her sanity damage. She rolls a 1, so 1 point there. Okay. And Hana is going to use, I think, a bandage. And we'll have her try to heal some of her wound damage. I'm trying to repair the party before we get involved in anything here. So, okay, here's her bandage roll. She rolls a 2, so that'll heal 2 wounds. So we've done some healing at least. That's a good thing. All right, and we'll continue on now, traveling to Larberg's Landing. We'll keep the same configuration, and we will keep the pace at normal, and then we'll do our supply check. Okay, we're looking for anything but a 1 or 2. It's a 6, so the supplies are holding out just fine. That's great. Okay, then we will move on to our travel hazard roll. This time we're using the light brown, and that is a recognized trail. So we'll be rolling a D8, and we get +1 for mounted. The result is a 4, and that is modified to a 5. A 5 on light brown is 1 hazard. Okay, so we're going to get out a D1000, a D1000, and we'll check our travel hazard tables. Okay, this is a D1000 roll. We're going to read it in the order of red, white, and blue. Here's the roll. And that's 929. 929. 929 reads, Prophet of Doom. You meet a man along the trail that goes by the name Crazy Ralph. He tells you that this area has a death curse. You humor the man, but is what he says true? Roll a d6 and consult the table below. Okay, Crazy Ralph. All right, we'll get a d6 out and see what happens. The result is a 5, and that says Crazy Ralph is just that. A little touched in the head, no effect. Okay. So we've completed our travel hazards. We'll move on to number 7, that's our healing, and we'll do a heal roll for each of our characters. Sister Hale. That is an odd roll, so nothing there. Hana Okabe. She has an even, so she'll get rid of 1 sanity damage while on the road. That's great. And finally, Silas Barrow. His is odd, so nothing there. All right, so I think we are done with the overland travel, and we're going to arrive in Larberg's Landing. So we safely arrive in the river town of Larberg's Landing. And I think we're going to save that adventure for the next video. Thank you so much for joining me at the Solo Gamers Club, and I hope you're enjoying this campaign playthrough of Shadows of Brimstone, using the Alone in the Shadows of Brimstone campaign rules. Thanks for watching, and I look forward to seeing you for our next video.